spots. Thank you so much, Jacksonica. That was beautiful. So today, this whole month, we are talking about the big leap. If you've been part of this, then you'll understand. And it is a big leap into a fuller expression of yourself, a fuller experience of connection, aliveness, of joy, of love, of creativity, of abundance, and of living life simply, just easier. Living life easier, not making it so complicated as we sometimes do. And for those of you who are here for the first time, all I can say is, where have you been? Where have you been? Last week we did talk about last week was about the divine masculine. So we celebrated Father's Day by talking about our masculine aspect within us. But I'm going to give you a shorter version of what we've covered, and we're going to continue it into next week. But it's from a book by Gay Hendricks, The Big Leap, Conquer Your Hidden Fears, and Take Life to the Next Level. Because I think many of us would like to take life to the next level and conquer our fears, darn it. You know, just so the remnants of it might show up, but let's leap. It's from this book, and I shared with you, this is such a great illustration on the front of the cover about the little goldfish. We use the koi as an illustration of leaping into a larger fishbowl. So it's time for us to jump into our larger fishbowls and take life to the next level. So if you've not been here, I'm going to give you a very short overview of what we have spoken about. And long before you came into this physical form, you made a handshake deal with the universe to live in your zone of genius. So we'll be talking about our zone of genius, which I love. Gay Hendricks coined that phrase. And our zone of genius is when we have a sense of purposeful joy. The almond joy that Joe gave us was perfect. So that really went in with it. That was a surprise. Also, where work doesn't feel like work. We're in a zone of genius. Where time feels different. It doesn't fly, it flows. In fact, it seems to expand to support your activities. Where you are a blessing to the world, where you're sharing your unique talent and gift. Where you are really happy. Your zone of genius is that place where you are happy. Happy. Somewhere along the line, in our happiness, an inner thermostat was set within us. We set this inner thermostat that determines the amount of love, creativity, joy, happiness, and abundance that we allow into our lives. We've set this thermostat. And some of us, that setting was pretty low. So Hendricks calls this the upper limit problem, or UP, as we've been talking about, and it's great because people remember, they've been talking about it in the classes too. UP, upper limit problem. It's like go without a G. So this is where we tend, when we're in the flow of having a good time, we're manifesting something, where we self-sabotage, where we stop it. And this is usually done subconsciously. So that's part of those barriers we were dismantling in the last talk. So Hendricks wrote in his book about his granddaughter, a really nice little story. And she was giving her friend an example of what this upper limit problem thing is that her grandfather wrote about. And she said, remember when we were playing dodgeball during recess last week? And that kid, Frankie, broke in and kicked the ball over the fence. Yes, her friend said, nodding. He does that kind of thing. Well, Hendricks' granddaughter replied, well, he has an upper limit problem. He doesn't know how to have a good time all the time. And so that is applicable, I think, to us. We could be in the flow of really having a good time, and then something subconsciously will come up. So that's what we're dismantling. Those are the barriers that we want to really look at and dismantle. And Hendricks wrote, grandfatherly pride aside, I think that was a pretty good definition of the upper limit problem. So 2 weeks ago, we looked at the barriers that keep us from expanding into that zone of genius. Zone of genius, I love that. And they were these are the 4 barriers, the main ones, for us to dismantle. 1, because we believe there is something fundamentally wrong with us. Because we believe it would cause us to be disloyal to our roots and leave people from our past behind. We stay. Because we believe if we did, we would outshine, fill in the blank, and make him or her look bad. And because we believe we will be an even bigger burden than we are now. And we went into great detail on those 4 barriers. They're on YouTube. Just YouTube Joyful Gathering, and you can get that dismantling your barriers, because that was really, I thought it was a pretty powerful discussion. So it is your divine right. It is your divine destiny to dismantle these barriers. It is your divine right and your divine destiny to live from that place of the zone of genius. You deserve to be there. That's the thing that we have to remember. You deserve to be there. We all deserve to be there. We do. And the world needs us to be there. How can we be the way shows? How can we be the bright lights in the world if we are not dismantling those fears that keep us playing small? So that is where we've been in the 2 weeks prior to last week. Where we're going today is we are going to learn how to build a bridge into your zone of genius. We're going to bridge it. Hendricks writes, in coaching people to discover their geniuses, I found that it is essential to start with a commitment to living in your zone of genius. Make your commitment, and you must come before you know how to make good on it. So the commitment comes before the bridge. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about later on in the talk, and I'm going to break them down so that you can write them down if you like, is to make a strong commitment. He describes the scene in the 3rd Indiana Jones movie in which Indy steps out into thin air, and beneath his feet there appears a bridge. It's a great analogy. If you trust in the universe, you make your commitment and you step out. Because I'm here to tell you, the universe will provide the most amazing support for you. It will if you but trust it and have faith in these spiritual principles that we talk about each week. Our commitment, though, must come first. So I love the thoughts on this, the power of commitment, and I've quoted this before, and it's personalized, so I changed some words around, from W.H. Murray's book, The Scottish Himalayan Expedition, where he writes, and then I changed some words myself, so you'll know more. Until I am committed, there is the chance to draw back, always in effectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless of my ideas and splendid plans. The moment I definitely commit myself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help me that would not otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issue from my decision, raising in my favor all manner of unforeseen incidences, meetings, and material assistance, which I never would dream could come my way. Whatever I can do or dream I can now begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and love in it. So there is something about moving, making that commitment and taking the move and allowing your genius to shine through. The entry gate to our genius zone, that zone of genius, according to Hendricks, is to make that commitment, to live there, and to remember that even before you know how to do it, to have that faith, to have that trust, that commitment is what you're telling the universal law. When you make a strong commitment and actually follow it and believe it, you are telling the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, all of those immutable laws. You're telling it something, and since it responds without judgment, it's going to give it back to you. But you got to trust. You really got to take that leap of faith. So here's your commitment, and I'm going to say it first, and then I'm going to repeat it, and then it's going to be something that you can repeat to yourself and write it down if you like. And well, I want you to work on these theories that we're going to go into during the upcoming weeks, because they really will take you to a place that will even surprise you. But it's there. It's there. So this is the commitment. I am committed to living in my genius zone now and forever. It's a great affirmation. I am committed to living in my genius zone now and forever. Let's say it one more time. I am committed to living in my genius zone now and forever. That's our affirmation to say. And know that with your heart, this is a formal contract that you've made between you and the universe, which I said always gives us back what we put into it. By doing that, you have passed the entry gate. The entry gate. You can now build a bridge into your zone of genius by asking these 4 powerful and illuminating questions. I know that people are feeling, this isn't the questions yet, but I know that people are feeling, a lot of us are feeling, this mounting the pressure to get back on track with our lives. I believe there's a sense of urgency that's taking place on this planet right here and right now. I really believe there is a sense of urgency. And what that is your internal call to live in your zone of genius. It's pulling, it's pulling. If you can feel this sense of this pullingness, that is your divinity pulling you into something greater if you but listen and follow it. And Hendricks writes that he has seen this pressure disappear with a miraculous speed when people open up to wondering what their true genius is. Then that kind of feeling that you are releasing, then you know that you're in the right place. And I don't expect us to be able to answer these questions today. That's why I want you to, if you choose, to write them down, and let's get this process starting into knowing what our zone of genius is, to knowing what our seed desire is. And we'll continue this series into July. We're gonna do this the first week in July. So here they are, and we're gonna look then briefly at the first 3, and then a little more detail for the 4th one. Okay, so the first question is, what do I most love to do? What do I most love to do? Said another way would be, what do I enjoy so much that time and space disappear, that I am totally present to what I am doing, and I do not get tired or bored. I am fully engaged. What do I love to do? Your genius is connected to what you most love to do. Remember that. That's the internal, that's the raising that thermostat up higher. Know what it is that you really love to do, that you enjoy yourself doing. And then we'll take that question into the next one to make it more specific. What work do I do that doesn't seem like work? I can do it all day long without feeling tired or bored. When you are doing that certain thing and not burdened with any kind of pressure or irritations, you are at your very happiest. The thing where you are at your very happiest, think of what it is. When you're doing it, you think, this is why I do the work I do. It also could be an activity. It also could be an activity that you completely love, that when you are doing it, like I said, all time and space disappear. You're fully engaged. You're living really in the now. You are fully living. Third one, in my work, what produces the highest ratio of abundance and satisfaction to amount of time spent? I'll say that again. In my work, what produces the highest ratio of abundance and satisfaction to the amount of time spent? Even if I only do it for 10 seconds, for a short time. When we move into that place of our zone of genius and the beginning of that building of that bridge to that place, which is already within us anyway, is knowing what it is you love to do, what you love to do. And there is an idea or a deeper connection that can come forth just from tapping into what it is you love to do. All kinds of inspiration come forth once you get into that zone. It's amazing, and you know what I'm talking about, because you know when you're doing that thing you love to do, how creative you become, because that is your divine nature, to be creative. That is what spirit does. It creates out of itself continuously. So there is some essential aspect of the work you do that produces the greatest payoff. Perhaps it's connecting with your staff or customers in a certain kind of way, or it's picking up the phone and having a certain kind of conversation with a key person. Whatever it is, find it and make it your highest priority. In fact, it is something that should be your highest priority. No matter how many hours, how many minutes are in a day, make the thing you love, take time for it, making it your highest priority, which means to do it first. To do it first. Make sure that you do it. Find the good in your work and focus on it. And that reminds me of the Wallace Wattles book, The Science of Getting Rich, where you focus on what you really desire to live in your life from the place you are right now. You find some good, you find something that you love that you can think about that maybe you can do. It doesn't make any difference how much time, but you do it where you are now, knowing it's going to expand into the greater good for you. That's a great little book too. It takes a certain kind of dedication to set a priority. It takes a certain kind of dedication. I know there are so many people here, from the Prosperity Plus class, I know this, that want to write a book. There are so many people that want to write a book. But there's all these excuses. Why? Time things, all kinds of factors that is our, kicking in. Let you know that. That is our upper limit problem. Kicking in, keeping us small, yet again. So Hendricks writes about setting priorities and really knowing what is important in your life. In your importance, not in someone else's, your importance. You might have to shift things around a little bit. Usually we do. This will do, if you're like me. There are sometimes, like, I got to do things, and I love doing them once I sit down and do them, but then I got to answer my text message first, and then I got to send an email first, and then, I got to straighten up over there first. And the whole time, I'm thinking about, see, that's my thermostat keeping me small. So when I just put everything aside and do it, then I'm in the flow. Then I'm moving into that zone of genius that we all have, every single one of us. So you might have to shift those things around a little. And if you have a real burning desire to do something and you keep putting it off, you will never experience or step into that zone of genius that we're talking about. And now we're going to talk about the fourth genius question. It asks you to think of who you are in the most unusual terms. This isn't it, but I'm just telling you. It asks you to identify a unique and priceless gift that you all carry within you. Each and every one of us has this gift. Your exploration of this aspect of yourself is not about flattery or the ego. It's about a clear-eyed look at the deepest, most innermost quality with the intention of applying it into your life and living your life, valuing your life. And here's the question. What is my unique ability? That's the fourth question. What is my unique ability? There's a special skill that I'm gifted with. This unique ability, fully realized and fully put to work, provides enormous benefits to not only you, but to those around you. If you only knew the capabilities, the talents, the gifts, etc., that are waiting within you to emerge, your mouth would drop open in admiration and amazement. You would be amazed at what that little thing within you, that's really a great big thing, but the seed of it, what that is. So we are in search here in this fourth step of the inner essentials. And so if we look into the essence of who you really are at the deepest level, you will find a unique gift that you've been blessed with. A gift that is your greatest contribution to you and to the people around you, work or non-work. It's the ability to be unique in the world. And there may be millions of people doing the same exact thing, but they're not going to do it the way you can do it. Remember that. I don't care how many people are doing something. They are not going to be doing it exactly the way you are going to do it. So we want to discover our unique ability. And you may have discovered it already, but if you haven't, here's a way to find it. There's a few people here that remind me, in fact, two of them. They've used these as projects in our foundation class, 2 different classes. It's the nesting dolls. So if you are familiar with the Russian nesting dolls, when you open the big one, there's a smaller one inside of it. And then when you open that doll, there's an even smaller one inside of that. And if you use this image, it's a great image for this. Think of your unique ability as a skill within a skill within a skill, just like the dolls. Your unique ability is usually camouflaged by the larger skill that you possess. You may not even realize that your unique ability is what is driving the success of that larger skill. Skill within the skill within the skill. That seed skill, that essence, that burning desire. Focus then on the first doll, the larger one. This is where, within this larger doll, your talent lies. Within your larger field, there is a real unique skill within you. I'm at my best when I'm, let that statement resonate. I'm at my best when I'm, and just think about it. When are you at your best? I'm at my best when it's a good general statement of what you're doing, what you're feeling when you're at your best. When you really feel aligned with Source. You know that feeling I'm talking about. When you really feel that state of well-being, when you feel creative, when you feel the peace. when you feel it. And it feels good. It feels good. And so you do this when you're alone, but ask these questions of yourself. Once you have the statement, of what it feels like when I'm at my best. When I'm at my best, the exact thing I am doing is, right? This is stuff to do at home, too. And, you know, I want us to really use this stuff. I'm not up here just talking to spit out words. I want us to really use this stuff and to really move past those hidden fears and those barriers into our zone of genius, into expressing our great gifts, into living a really fulfilling, happy life. So we want to get more detailed. So we can ask ourselves these questions and contemplate on them. Think about them. Think about them. When you're by yourself, when you're in a quiet time, just think about them. Because they'll take you even deeper. But if we don't first open that big nesting doll, we'll never know that there's another one inside and another one inside. But that's the same with us. That's the same with us. And then, when I'm doing that thing, the thing I love, when I'm doing that, the thing I love most about it is, when I'm doing that, the thing I love most about it is, you'll be able to know that you're getting closer to your unique ability when you feel that inner glow, when you feel wonder, when you feel excited. Oh my goodness, that's the greatest feeling. To be enthusiastic, to be excited about it. I love being excited. I really do. It's such a great feeling. It is like the joy that Joe gave that to us. It's the joy, yes. That excitement triggers all kinds of possibilities. So here's what completing those 4 statements looks like. Okay, for me. I'm at my best when I'm teaching a class. Because I absolutely love to be in the classes. I'm at my best because the exact thing I'm doing is sharing authentically and joyfully, and it's from a place of deepening into these spiritual truths in these classes that I absolutely adore because they help me. They help me. Every time I do a class, I get the benefit. Hopefully everyone else does too, but I really, because I love it so much, to deepen into these spiritual truths and to live my life from that place because it's good. So when I'm doing the thing I love the most about it is connecting on a soul level with like-minded people. That's the beauty of these classes. We have 3 classes that are always going on. And the beauty of my love of being in the class is that I get to connect on a deep soul level with people. And I love that. So the thing that I love most about it is then taking me back into the original statement, what I love to do the most. And that is to teach these spiritual principles. I love it. I love it. So discovering your zone of genius then is your life's big leap. Find the thing that you're really that you really love to do, And Hendricks writes that everything up until now has been about hops, not leaps. We've been hopping. We've been hopping if we're lucky. And hopping can be haphazardous to your life because it causes you to rust within, not letting that deep glow, that fire inside shine. So you're not leaping. So the hops cause us to be small, to rust within. You are here to unleash your talents and your gifts, your visions for your life, for you, what you want to experience. You are here to make a contribution. Remember, you are here to let God be God in you and as you. That's why we're here. Let God be you as you, through you. So this morning we've begun to build the steps to building that bridge into your zone of genius. And first by committing to living it. Making that commitment is our most important movement. Making the commitment and allowing Providence to move in, because it will. That's the way it works. And then by asking the 4 questions that we spoke about and being ready to make amazing discoveries that will come forth. They will come forth. So now is the time to do this. Right here, right now, it's time to make this leap. I can feel it's leap time. It's time to make this leap. Right,
it is a leap year.
It's time. So don't wait another moment. The world is waiting. It's waiting for you. Truly, it's waiting for you to live in your zone of genius. So I invite you to join me as we just leap on forward. No more hopping, okay? So, and so.